If my life felt completely out of control again, and I had only 30 days to fix it, I'd do one thing differently. I would stop trying to earn love from people who had already decided I wasn't enough. That's the mistake I made before Thanksgiving. 3 weeks after my family laughed at me over a $2 lottery ticket, I woke up to 79 missed calls from those same people. They thought they had broken me. They had no idea they were about to lose me forever. My name is Lily Harper, and this is the story of the most expensive joke my family ever made. 3 weeks after Thanksgiving, I woke up at 7:18 a.m. in my tiny one-bedroom apartment on Chicago to 79 missed calls. Not 3, not 770, 9. Every one of those calls came from people who hadn't cared whether I could pay my rent, whether I had food in my refrigerator, or whether I cried myself to sleep after losing everything. My husband Ethan stood quietly in the kitchen. He was holding his third cup of coffee, the morning weather report murmuring from the television while freezing rain tapped against the old apartment window. He looked at my phone, then at me. His face lost every bit of color. "Lily, what happened?" I swallowed. Because deep down, I already knew. Not because anyone had warned me, because I knew exactly what desperate people sound like when money suddenly replaces love. And believe me, those 79 missed calls were only the beginning. By the end of this story, you'll understand why my family still can't say my name without remembering the worst mistake they ever made. If you've ever been the one your own family laughed at while pretending it was just a joke, subscribe now. What happened next proved that sometimes karma waits quietly, before it arrives all at once. It all began on Thanksgiving Day, November 27, 2025. The sky above Naperville, Illinois, was heavy with low gray clouds. The cold wind carried the smell of turkey, cinnamon, and burning firewood through my Aunt Patricia Collins' neighborhood. From the street, her house looked warm, inviting, safe. The moment I stepped inside, it felt like walking into a room where everyone had already agreed. I didn't belong. Nobody there knew something important. Every person sitting around that polished oak dining table believed I was the family's biggest disappointment. They knew I had lost my marketing job in July. They knew I had emptied my savings paying for my mother's chemotherapy. They knew Ethan had been driving Uber until almost 3 every morning just to keep our lights on. And somehow, instead of feeling compassion, they found it entertaining. But what none of them understood was that months of heartbreak had quietly changed me forever. Pain doesn't always make people stronger. Sometimes, it simply teaches them to stop expecting kindness. I noticed my brother Ryan exchanging smug smiles with Uncle Greg. I noticed Aunt Patricia whispering something that made half the table laugh before I had even taken off my coat. Then I noticed my cousin Megan. She wasn't checking a message, she wasn't scrolling social media. She was holding her phone perfectly still, recording me, as if she already knew the most humiliating moment of my year was about to happen. And the heartbreaking part, she was right. Dinner began at exactly 5:42 p.m. The table looked like something from a Thanksgiving magazine. Golden turkey, fresh dinner rolls, homemade cranberry sauce, candles glowing softly against the dining room windows while old holiday songs played quietly in the background. If someone had taken a picture that night, it would have looked like the perfect American family pictures. Never tell you who is hurting from my chair. Every smile felt rehearsed. Every laugh sounded heavier than it should have. Aunt Patricia Collins gently tapped her wine glass with a spoon. "I thought we'd do something fun before dessert." Everyone smiled. Almost too quickly. Wrapped gifts began moving around the table. My brother Ryan opened a brand new Milwaukee tool set. My cousin Megan smiled as she unwrapped an expensive bottle of Chanel perfume. Uncle Greg laughed while showing off a leather watch organizer. Even my husband Ethan received a $100 Bass Pro Shops gift card. Then, every pair of eyes slowly turned toward me. Patricia reached beneath her chair and pulled out a tiny white envelope. It was so light, it almost felt empty. She smiled. "Oh, Lily, this one's especially for you." The room became painfully quiet, the kind of silence that exists because everyone already knows the punchline. I opened the envelope inside. Won $2 Illinois lottery scratch, off ticket. For 1 second, nobody moved. Then Uncle Greg leaned back in his chair and laughed. Maybe, this is the only raise you'll ever get. The room exploded. Ryan slapped the table so hard his drink spilled. Someone actually whistled. Megan stepped closer with her phone, making sure she didn't miss my reaction. Then Patricia smiled and delivered the sentence. I'll probably remember for the rest of my life. If you win $20, Lily, maybe you can finally stop borrowing sympathy from everyone. The laughter became louder. Not one person looked uncomfortable. Not one person told them to stop. Not even after they saw the tears filling my mother's eyes at the far end of the table. She lowered her head because she couldn't bear to watch her own daughter become entertainment. Under the table, Ethan quietly reached for my hand. His fingers were shaking almost as much as mine. I wanted to cry. I wanted to scream. I wanted someone, anyone, to say, "Enough." Nobody did. So I smiled. Not because I forgave them, because I refused to let them watch me fall apart. I folded the ticket once, slipped it into my coat pocket, softly thanked Patricia for the gift. Then Ethan and I stood up and walked toward the front door. Behind us, the laughter started again. No one followed. No one apologized. To them, the joke was over. They had no idea. It had only just begun. The next 3 weeks felt exactly like the 6 months before them. Nothing changed, at least. That's what I believed. Ethan kept driving for Uber until almost 2 o'clock every morning, surviving on gas station coffee and 4 hours of sleep. I spent my days applying for marketing jobs, taking my mother to chemotherapy appointments at Northwestern Memorial Hospital, and pretending I wasn't falling apart inside. The scratch off ticket stayed forgotten inside the glove compartment, just another painful reminder of what my family thought I was worth. Then came Thursday, December 18, 2025. Chicago woke beneath freezing rain and a sky so gray, it barely looked like morning. The coffee maker hummed softly. The apartment heater clicked every few minutes, struggling against the cold. Before Ethan left for work, I decided to clean out the car. That's when I saw it. The tiny white lottery ticket. For a second, I almost threw it into the trash. Instead, I grabbed a quarter from the kitchen counter. Standing beside the sink, I scratched the silver coating away one line at a time. The first number matched. Then the second, then the third. My hand stopped moving. My heart didn't. I checked the ticket again. Then I opened the Illinois Lottery app. I compared every number again, and again, and again. And one more time, there wasn't a mistake. Prize wasn't $20. It wasn't $200. It wasn't even $20,000. It was $4.8 million. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I simply sat on the kitchen floor, holding the same $2 joke that had quietly changed my entire life. Nobody knew, not Ethan, not my family, not even my closest friend. Within 2 days, I met with an attorney, a CPA, and a financial advisor. Following their advice, I claimed the prize legally, paid every debt, secured our future, purchased a home through a trust, and disappeared before anyone realized what had happened. Then, 3 weeks later, at 7:18 a.m., my phone vibrated without stopping. 79 missed calls. Ryan, Patricia, Greg, Megan. Relatives who had ignored my birthday for years were suddenly leaving tearful voicemails. Family comes first. We were only teasing. Please don't shut us out. Then Uncle Greg left one final message. That ticket came from our Thanksgiving dinner. You owe this family. I finally answered one call. Patricia was sobbing before I even spoke. I let the silence become heavier than her excuses. Then I said quietly, "You didn't give me hope that night. You gave me humiliation. You laughed while someone recorded the worst moment of my life. And now you want to call it love because money is involved." She tried to interrupt. I didn't let her. The Thanksgiving video, the text messages, the threats, the demands. My attorney has every single one of them. The crying stopped. Panic replaced it. For the first time in years, they weren't laughing anymore. I ended the call, blocked every number, changed every contact, walked away forever. Months later, I heard they were still blaming one another for losing millions of dollars. But they never lost my money. They lost me the moment they decided my pain was their holiday entertainment. And that became the only revenge I ever needed. The same family who decided I was worth a $2 lottery ticket spent the rest of their lives knowing they would never receive a single penny from the woman they tried so hard to destroy.